everyone, I'm Joan Kelley Walker. Thank you for joining us as we take a stroll down the Fash Avenue. I'm so excited today because my guest, as we talk about women in media and talk with women in media, we have Christine Bentley today. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you. This is so great to be here. So nice to be on the other side of the...
Well, this is it. I feel like I'm an interviewer interviewing the interviewer.
Well, not exactly.
So let's hope I don't mess this up. So, I want to start, after your extensive career in television, you made the transition to What She Said Radio, into radio. How did that, what happened to inspire that transition?
Well, I think, I first of all did news for a long, long time, which is a wonderful thing to do. But I have always felt, and my co-host, Kate Wheeler, we both were at CTV for a long time, we both wanted to do something where we celebrated Canadians. So we don't have a star system in this country the way I think other people do. I think Europe has more of a star system. In the US, you only have to do one pirouette and you're all over everything. But
for a short time.
For a short time.
And then you're gone.
And then you're gone.
Yeah.
But here in this country, we have the most amazing fashion designers, the most amazing singers, the most amazing artists, the most amazing writers. We have so much talent. And yet we're almost embarrassed about it, and we almost feel humble, like we shouldn't make a big fuss. So we wanted to make a big fuss about Canadians, and especially about Canadian women. So that's how it kind of got started, because we weren't bound by news events, which are usually tragic.
So just as a newscaster for so many years, did you find, did that ever get to you? Did you ever think, there's a lot of tragedy in all these things that I'm reporting and it is sort of negative? Or did you feel that, or did you feel like such a responsibility to get the news out there so people know the truth?
I think if you take a 1-hour newscast, or you take, the front page of the Globe or the Star or whatever, it tends to be focused on negative things. But I think what our emphasis was on was to keep it very balanced, not to have an opinion, but people have a right to know. They have a right to know that their taxes are going up. They have a right to know that their street has the worst pothole history in whatever. They have a right to know that there's somebody dangerous on the loose. They have a right to know what the government is doing or what they're considering doing. They have the right to know that, and that may not always be positive, but it is something that people, it should be offered. It should be available to everyone. That's part of a democracy.
Right. So do you miss doing television?
No, not really. I think it was a great time in my life. It was a bubble. When I started in media, there were very few women. I think I was the first on-air newswoman at CTV in Toronto to get pregnant, and they were like, ooh, because it was the days of, well, everybody has an emotional relationship with you, and if you leave, they're not gonna watch us anymore. And then they found that people were very tolerant of that. They did get to know you, they were very tolerant. And then now it's become a whole different thing. Now, most television stations are owned by major telecoms, and their interest is primarily to sell data plans on the 4 screens. And so they have to abide by CRTC regulations, but that is not their first love. That's not their business MO. So it's a different time.
Isn't it interesting, though, that they celebrate women being pregnant now on shows, like on every show, entertainment shows, on lifestyle shows, that, that's really changed in the past couple of decades.
Yes.
What other things have you noticed that have really changed a lot?
I think, it's funny because when I started, women were rare. So there were lots of guys in journalism school. Now, they have trouble finding a male reporter.
But you didn't even go to journalism school.
I didn't even go.
You took literature.
I took languages and literature and thought, okay, well, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a translator. What am I going to do now? And it was a wonderful story. I had a friend who lived in Barrie, and she worked at the old CKVR way back in the day. There were 5 people in the newsroom. She said, come and meet my boss, because you're kind of a half cerebral, half performance person. I did a lot of drama in high school and university. So I went up, his name was Bill French, he's still alive, and I thank him every day, but he he gave me 35 great years in the business. Anyway, I went up and I talked to him and I did an audition and I said, so where do you think I should go to journalism school? He said, you can start Monday at 9. I said, I don't know how to do anything. He said, well, you're going to get $75.
Sink or swim.
$75 a week, and if you've got, you'll be fine. And that's how it happened. Somebody took a shot. Somebody just took a chance. But it was basically largely men. And now that's completely turned around.
Someone took a chance, but you were also there to take a chance. Like you were thinking, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but let me try, let me do my best.
Oh yeah, and let me tell you that my father, God bless him, no longer with us, but still, at the time, it was considered sort of not quite a legitimate job.
Really?
Well,
and
yeah.
Nowadays, so many people are vying for that job.
He kind of, he thought acting was like one step above prostitution.
Right. And
it's
funny, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and he thought that this was maybe a step above acting.
Oh, wow.
But kind of, I think he would have liked me to go into business or something, because he came from a line of lawyers, but he took a shot and he went into the diplomatic service. So,
So a lot, like your line in broadcast was really quite straight. Like you went from job to job, and you landed.
No, I was at CKVR for a year and a half. Then I went to CBC as a summer student for 3 months during a bloodbath of management. And then I got hired, I forced them to hire me at CFTO, and then I just stayed there. I was
How do you do that? Everybody wants to know, how do I force them to hire me?
Well, I was just, I broke stories in the summer at CBC, and the reporter who was covering that story at CFTO said, oh my God, you've made my life hell. And I said, I'm so sorry. So
that's my job.
It was a big, big story. So anyway, so then I just kept showing up and saying hi to the news director, hi, and he finally hired me. And I broke a lot of stories, so I was a general assignment reporter, then I went to City Hall, then I went to Queen's Park, then, I was pregnant, and so I took the weekend as job, and then I was promoted to the 11:30 anchor, and I was just about to give birth. And I thought, I need to have a regular gig because I have to have daycare or whatever. I have to make arrangements. I'm having twins, right? Like I can't just go to a court.
But then you were doing the news at 11:30, at 6:30.
No. So I did it at 11:30, and then later on, I think I did 6:30 and 11:30, and then later on I did 6:30, and then I filled in at noon, and then we were doing 6:30 and noon. But my kids were in school, and then when I was moved to 6 o'clock when my kids were in grade 8, and I'd had all day with them. I loved it. I never had any guilt. I had all day with them, put them to bed, off I'd go to work. It was great. And then it was great.
How did you find catching up with your sleep?
Oh, I have no work-life
You don't think about
balance.
it. No, right. Okay, so let's talk about work-life balance.
I don't know what that is. I'm not a balanced person. So I have...
and that works for you. Do you think that's a formula that would work for other people? Just say, throw tradition out the window. You have to just do what you have to do to be in the position that you want.
I'm not a balanced person. There's an imbalance. It's a character flaw, perhaps. I'm not sure. I don't know what works for anybody else. But for me, if I have 9 jobs to do, I will get them all done, and then I will rest, because I know that tomorrow there'll be another 19.
Right.
So I don't feel good unless it's done. So I just keep going until it's done. And my body actually likes stress to a certain degree, not crisis stress. I couldn't do that for a long period of time, but I like having
the
deadlines.
Adrenaline.
I love
live
writing
news.
exams and writing that essay until 4 a.m. and this is the days when we had to type them, by the way. There was no computer where you could autocorrect. You had to type it, or you'd wake somebody up at 5 a.m. and say, okay, I'll pay you $200, type my essay for me. Those were the days that I went. But that pressure of studying when you had left it too late I thrived on that. And so I've always thrived on that.
So your career was over a really transitional time in media and in broadcasting. What are the biggest changes that you've seen?
Well, now I just think there is the lines in journalism, if you want, are so blurry because you go to Twitter, you go to all the social media, none of that's verified. You can't air a story on a legitimate news channel without having 3 sources verify it. Now, I mean, there's all kinds of garbage going on. They can write anything and say, oh, you know, this
and what
person
is
did
that
this.
doing to us as a society?
Well, we're getting, I think there's just so much white noise that people are becoming sort of ambivalent about news and facts. And I hear people say all the time, oh, it's all bad, I don't want to hear any of it. And I'm thinking, well, you kind of want to keep track of what's going on. Like, you're electing people, you're paying taxes, you kind of want to know what's going on in schools and what they're doing. It's your children, it's their future, don't you? But I think people are just so overwhelmed because everybody wants to say something today. Everybody has something earth-shattering to share, like what they had for lunch.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And there's platforms for that.
And it just goes on, and I think people are just like, oh, enough. Like, I just want to go away.
So we're going to run out of time, but
okay.
You have received so many awards, and a lot of that is because of your career, but also because of your philanthropy. Why is it important for you to give back?
I think it is incumbent on anyone who is privileged, whether they've earned that privilege through hard work and being successful. I mean, I've had nothing but opportunities in my life, and other people haven't. And I'm a highly functional person, and some people aren't. That's not their fault. And so I think it is incumbent upon us to give everything that we can, because this is supposed to be a just society. And I can't remember who said it, which Greek philosopher, but we are as strong as our weakest link. And it just makes me feel so good.
So Christine, where can people find you nowadays?
1059 The Region, and we're on Saturdays and Sunday from noon to 1. And we talk about all kinds of, local initiatives. We talk about charities. We talk about great Canadians who are achieving something. And we have a good time.
It's women inspiring other women.
Women inspiring other women.
I love that. And it makes me feel so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing. We could go on forever. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.